All right, Ruth. And the way we do this is we just try to pretend these things aren't here and then we just talk and stuff. The only official thing I do is I ask people to introduce themselves and, like, what brings us here today?
My name is Ruth Rabinowitz, and I was not born in Iowa. I was not raised on a farm in Iowa, nothing like that. I was born in Michigan. I was raised in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Arizona. I went to high school in Hollywood.
Like Hollywood, California?
Hollywood, LA. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Well, now's your chance to finally be in the movies.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people in the movies. I went to school with a lot of little stars,
Mention
and
one.
stuff. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio was right after me, but like Heidi Fleiss was in my school. I sat next to Lisa Presley in a
Really?
class.
Oh my gosh.
Mino Palouse in a lot of movies was in my school. Olivia Diabo was one of my friends growing up.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's Hollywood, right?
That's wild. I love
So-
that. All right. Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
that I had to grab onto that. Hollywood.
So my father was raised in the Great Depression, born in 1936
Okay.
in Camden, New Jersey. He was born in Atlantic City, but he was kind of raised in the hood of Camden. And they had a little simple home, a little row home, and he had a little backyard that his parents had where he grew roses. And he always wanted to buy a bigger piece of land.
You mean as a kid, he liked to plant roses?
Yeah, he was
Okay.
cultivating flowers, roses in his
Wow.
backyard. And I think he worked for a gardener for a little while,
Okay.
doing some stuff out there. And so as he became a doctor, saved his money, he looked at where the best farmland in America was, by where the glaciers left all their beautiful topsoil,
Yeah.
and all roads led to Iowa.
Okay.
So everyone thought he was crazy, all the doctors that he knew. He was flying out to Iowa and purchasing farmland in 1978
Wow.
and into the mid 90s. As he saved, he would buy more land. As he saved, he'd buy. And so I knew since I was just a kid that eventually I was going to be in charge of some of this land. Hopefully it was going to make it to next generation. You never know. But it did. And in 2012, we became a family limited partnership. He fell down and hurt his arm in 2014, wound up in the hospital. And that's when I really got involved with taking on the business, as he was not able to anymore. And he
Yeah.
was able to relinquish his hold because it was his baby up until then.
Yeah.
It was someday it's going to be yours, but it was his purview. And it was good because I had my own life and I had my own career. And so I was learning all these transferable skills that whole time that I could utilize for this business.
I forgot to mention, I sometimes interrupt. So if I just put up my finger, it means I have a question. And I'll try not to interrupt your flow if you're like in the middle of something, but then I'll come at the end.
That's fine.
So for people who aren't familiar with like land transactions and things like that, I think a question they'll have is, okay, so your dad flies out. It's 1979.
Uh-huh.
He maybe sees a 50-acre chunk of land or a 100-acre chunk of land. He buys it, but what happens with that land if he's living somewhere else?
It was interesting because back in those times, the realtor would also become the farm manager.
Oh,
So it was
Oh.
turnkey. It
that's
was
so
like,
interesting.
yeah, it was
Okay.
interesting. Yeah. So I don't know how many people they did that with. Or
Wow.
if he was more exceptional, where he just came in and he's like, I really want to invest in some land. And they're like, I know the farmers. I'll take care of it. I'll rent it out for you.
And so the way you make the reason he was doing it, I mean, I'm sure part of it was financially, right? Because he would make some money off like whatever crop was growing. But did he want to live there someday, or he just went into okay.
Yeah, he never wanted to live there. He had lung issues. He was a lung doctor, and
Oh.
ironically had asthma and bronchitis himself.
Oh, he was not going to be on a tractor.
He was not going to be
Yeah.
on a tractor. He was
Okay.
not going to. He had left the cold.
Okay.
He had gone to Arizona for the warmth.
Right, right.
And he was not going to go back to the cold.
Wow.
So he knew he had to visit Iowa at least once a year, minimally.
So he was just sort of building a mysterious legacy of a lot of chunks of farmland.
He was
Iowa.
like a Warren Buffett visionary of like, Warren Buffett has said land is like gold with a dividend, I think, or something like that.
Right.
And so as long as the land could sort of break even and pay for itself with the
Yeah.
mortgages that he had to take out,
Right.
he was fine with not really profiting.
Interesting.
He just wanted it to at least roll itself and be in the black, you know.
Okay.
And often it was working out that way.
Okay. So then back to where you were. You
Yeah.
said 2014, he fell and he hurt his arm.
Yes. And I was able to, at that point, drop everything in my life, leave a kid renting a room in my house in California, unbelievable, like a 20-year-old in charge of the whole house, and move to my childhood home where he had lived for 40 years in Paradise Valley to take care of him, in assisted living and make sure and advocate
yeah.
for all his medical.
Yeah.
And then also empty the house.
Yeah. And Paradise Valley, for those that don't know, is in Arizona.
Yeah, it's near Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Right by Phoenix.
It's part of the megaplex, I like to refer to it, or the megalopolis of Phoenix.
It was.
But it wasn't when
we
you
grew
were
up
there.
in the zip code of 85253. It's sort of the Beverly Hills of Phoenix, right by
Yeah.
Camelback Mountain.
Yeah.
Where all the golfing and spas are and everything. And so I had to fix up the house to get it ready for rent. That was one of my first jobs.
Yeah.
And so then eventually he moved to California to be near me.
Oh, wow.
So I was
Okay.
able to move back to my house.
Yeah.
About 9 months later.
Okay.
So how I got here today in this house we're sitting in.
Yeah, so that was 2015-ish or 2016-ish.
Yeah.
Now we're in 2025.
Yes.
Yeah, how are we sitting here? That's a great.
How are we sitting
Yeah.
here is I pleaded with him in the estate plan to divide up the farms between me and my sister.
Okay.
Because he had them all kind of like 50-50 commingled. He did, I think he took like index cards and did his best guess at values and went, this is for Ruth and this is for Shauna. Exhibit A, Exhibit B. So when he passed in 2017, it was a slam dunk.
Yeah.
There was not a fight over
Yeah.
it. It was not equal value, but it was really close.
Yeah.
And so this was a farm that I inherited in
Okay.
that split. And I knew I was going to sell one farm so that I could build this place.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I did sell one farm after he died in 2017 and started to develop plans for this manufactured home. I wanted it to be affordable. I didn't want it to take a super long time. I liked that it was prefab
Yeah.
and it could be just stitched together.
Right. You didn't have to wait a year and a half for it to get built.
No.
Yeah.
And I did all this planning, taking a permaculture design course with Vital Cycles out in the Santa Cruz, California area. So I was working on the home design and the entire site plan design of where all of these outbuildings were going to go.
Well, let me back you up a little
Sure.
bit more. So you're living in Santa Cruz. You're obviously probably there because you enjoy it. So you're living in this beautiful place, or so I've heard. Santa Cruz is beautiful. And then you're saying that you had this plan to uproot your life and invest heavily in this 40-acre chunk of land in the middle of Iowa. Like, what did your friends think?
I think that I was in that category of she's a little crazy like her dad,
Yeah.
he was kind of a frontier person with what he was doing. And I just felt at the end of the day, I don't want to not be with the land at some point in my life. What's it all for?
Yeah.
I wanted more than a dollar value out of this and just a cash rent check every year. I wanted to understand what he had purchased. I wanted to enjoy the fruits of his entire career of
Yeah.
labor
Right.
and my career of labor, because I was taking on a lot of responsibility. And I wanted to see the sunrise and the sunset and hear the owls
Yeah.
and see the crops grow and be on the combine for the harvest and understand the night sky and how the moon was and all of it.
Where did you get those ideas from? This is really interesting to me. Because I mean, Santa Cruz is a lot different, right? It's not really farm country, is it?
There's a lot of organic small farms, and
Okay.
there's large scale. It's the garlic capital, the artichoke and garlic capital of the world, or something.
Okay.
This sort of area of the Bay Area. Strawberries,
Okay.
huge crop. A lot of the berries, Brussels sprouts. We are the garden basket. You'll see in your stores here.
Yeah.
Driscoll strawberries. They're from this
Sure.
area. They're trucked in. So we have a lot of farms. And
But there's not a lot of people that say, I want to ride a combine. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So, okay,
Yeah.
so you had dreams. Then how did you know early on that you wanted, like, how did you even know about sustainability even being a thing to wonder about? Where were you first exposed to the idea of permaculture or sustainable farming?
it started as a child. So my grandmother had a 17-acre farmhouse in South Haven, Michigan.
Oh,
And there was blueberries right down the street. We went and picked those.
wow.
We had a century farm in our family.
What's a century farm?
It's like a 100-year farmstead that was in your family.
Oh, okay.
When I was growing up, my father was our brownie troop leader, and we would enter our chickens in the Arizona State Fair. We had a big vegetable garden and an orchard. We had geese, we had chickens, we had rabbits.
So you didn't grow up separate from the land. You have a connected past.
I have a connected past.
That's interesting. Okay. No, I had you wrong. I thought you were more of like just city person. And then I still think of Santa Cruz as like the city with a big dash of hippie vibes in Santa Cruz. At least back in the 90s, that was the scene.
Yeah, we have the redwood trees, so I kind of
Yeah.
spent my 20s and 30s and 40s in the redwoods at the ocean.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you were like, okay, I want to go, and I went to experience Dad's land. He had multiple farms, though. Why this piece of land?
I was back and forth between this site and a site in New Virginia.
Is New Virginia?
New Virginia is Clark County, just
Oh, it's in
maybe
Iowa.
30 minutes away.
Okay.
Yeah, New Virginia,
Got it.
Iowa. And this was closer to Des Moines, which is important for swimming and, shopping and trying to get organic food in this house,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. And it had a view of a pond.
It is a really great view. Yes.
So as
Yeah.
an artist, because I have my artistic eye at all times on interior and exterior design, I wanted a view, and I knew I was going to feel landlocked away from the ocean.
Yeah.
So it's like my little mini ocean. It's my mini blue body of water that
Yeah.
I don't feel so dried out, on
it
land.
really is. Like looking over my left shoulder here, like just seeing the sun sparkling off the water, it makes a big difference.
It really,
Yeah.
really makes a big
Yeah.
difference.
Wow.
So I actually saw a drone image of that
Oh,
from just some aerial pictures,
yeah.
because typically when we would come as a family, the corn was overhead.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even get in the field that we're standing on. I was locked out.
Whoa, okay.
It was occupied by corn or by soybeans.
So where you're sitting right now, about 2 weeks ago would have been 8-foot corn. Where your house is. Okay, right. So I didn't completely track that. I thought there was maybe an older house here that was moved off. So everything here was corn
Yes.
or soybean on other years, right? Or
Yes.
Okay, wow. Okay, so you got a patch of corn growing in Iowa. You decide I'm going to go live there, and then you start doing lots of sustainability research. What was the place you went to again to learn?
It was called Vital Cycles.
Okay.
It's a little school of permaculture out in California in the Bay Area. And it was a year-long program.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't just a weekend.
I thought it would just be like a weekend or two.
And it was not a Zoom thing. It was in person on a small farm. And we'd spent 2 days together, sometimes we'd camp out together.
Wow.
And we learned soup to nuts permaculture.
Okay. I'm sorry to ask you so many questions. Normally I'm not this annoying. For the person who has never heard that term, what is permaculture?
Yeah, I guess it's sort of permanent agriculture. So it's really a very intelligent way of living on the land and with the land. So things are divided up into zones and sectors. It can get very complicated very quickly, but you want to know before you even break ground, where is the solstice, the sun? Where's the sun going to be in the height of the summer? Where's
Really?
your winter arc of the sun?
Whoa.
As you age, especially, how many steps till I get to my vegetable garden?
You mean how many?
You know,
You mean they talk about your age as a human being?
I don't. That's how I saw it. Of
Okay.
like, you want to make it easy to be in the space.
Okay.
So you have your vegetable garden close by. You have your herbs close by. You don't have it way out in a distance.
Wow.
And
I like
so
that.
you want to make it as user friendly as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And you really want to work with the land.
Okay.
What does the land want to grow?
Wow. That's so cool. Okay. So at the end of the year, what happened then? Oh, were you visiting during the permaculture class? Were you coming and checking out the land and like making mental notes to yourself, or did you just stay in Santa Cruz for that whole year and then come out at the end of it?
I was doing some visiting because I knew I was gonna build this house.
Okay.
So I was coming out. I was here when the stakes were actually struck into the ground for the whole footprint of this building.
Okay.
For the site. Like we didn't angle it straight onto the pond. We angled it slightly over so that there was more privacy from the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
For all these windows, and the view corridor
Yeah.
was more towards the crop ground and not angled towards the street.
Okay.
And I was here for that.
Wow.
So I was coming out here. I would just fly out, stay in a hotel. You know, it was so hard to manage land that far away. It felt like I was never going to get there with my goals for the land. It was just never going to happen. And I was going to be frustrated for years.
Were you trying it that way at first, though?
Yeah.
You were trying to be distant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of got the reins of this business. There were 11 farms, and I was able to take the wheel from my dad, essentially, and terminate the current professional management team and start utilizing a lease that I had drafted
Yeah.
and had a lawyer look at and such. And that was like 2013.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So I was
Yeah.
co-managing with my dad when he was alive.
Yeah.
We had 5 years together
Okay.
before he passed.
Wow.
And I just knew after he was gone that I had to live here at least part of the year.
Wow. Okay, so when you first, is it okay to go ahead to the point where you moved in and just describe like what the land, oh no, wait, because before you moved in, so there's a map over your left shoulder that is the entire plan. Can you talk about how planned it was in terms of, yeah, just how detailed that is?
Yeah.
And also what company you used. I think that might be interesting to people.
Yeah, so Climate Land Leaders had contractors that would come on the Zooms and do teach-ins on permaculture and things. And this was one of their vendors and collaborators, Ecological Design.
Okay.
And
Out of Minneapolis, right?
yeah, I believe so. And so they took my hand-drawn, drawings that I had done on large pieces of paper. I scanned them, as well as farm maps. And they were able to put it in whatever software, CAD or something, and scale it to the site and actually put it to scale on a computer
Yeah.
and generate the blueprint.
Right.
But Karen Harrelson and I, which was my teammate out at Vital Cycles, we worked together on my kitchen table for a year, researching every species of tree, how appropriate it was, what birds wanted to eat that type of berry. We were really planting for wildlife and to repopulate
Wow.
the corn soybean aftermath.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know how long this land had been under cultivation by chance before you got here? Or do we just assume since cultivation generally started.
I know there used to be cows out here.
Oh, wow. So it was cows and then corn and soybeans.
Yeah, it was a dairy farm.
Oh, wow.
It was
okay.
the black and white cow, the Jersey cow.
Okay.
I think it is the black and white one.
So basically this land had seen just a ton of use.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a double whammy.
It's been a
right?
working farm.
Yeah,
It's been a hard-working farm. There is some pretty good organic matter in this farm because of the manure. All those years, even though it had tillage, it doesn't now. It has no-till cover crops now.
Yeah.
But it had tillage.
Yeah.
When my dad was just having somebody else run it. But it's got the history of animal impact, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
On this land. So yeah, this is working lands, and so this is retired crop ground. There's a couple different words, right? This was working land. Now it's retired crop ground with reconstructed prairie on it.
So if I had visited you the day you moved into this house, what did the yard look like?
Mud. It was brown.
Okay.
And it was like constantly getting dirt in the house all the time. There were some like planks out there I could walk because it was just mud. There was no grass. There was no path.
Wow.
It was nuts.
Was it still like corn stalk from the last harvest, or was it like a little bit further away from the house, or was the whole yard just really just dirt?
There was still a lot of like corn stalk stubble around, but it had one season of oats cover crop.
Okay.
So it did have one new set of roots that had come up.
Yeah.
And then it had been seeded down, had been seeded with a utility vehicle with a dragged cultivator with chains, I think, on the back. So that's kind of how it was left.
Wow. And so what we saw outside, you and I we walked the property, and I've got a lot of great footage of this really beautiful, really stunning, crazy beautiful property and all the grasses and forbs that are growing. Can you talk about that journey, if possible, to encapsulate it? Like, where did you start? How long did it take until you felt like you were getting anywhere?
Yeah, apparently with prairie, the prairie takes a little while to kind of like wake up to itself. I mean, it's going to look like an ugly duckling for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, okay. So you get a lot of kind of invasive species and a lot of foxtail, that are just going to be opportunistic because it's bare ground.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's all this seed bank everywhere blowing in from the street and everything that's been here. And so I just had to know that we had to mow it the first couple years, and I did have it mowed.
Yeah.
To give those new prairie plants a chance.
Right.
To come up and get the sunlight.
Okay.
So the first 2 years was mowing, so I wasn't out there with a hoe trying to do much.
Yeah.
There's a point where you stop mowing, like in its second year, and then you just have to let it be.
Yeah.
And as it was growing and maturing, that's when I started to see the invasive species really come through. The parsnip, the invasive thistles, Canadian thistle, some of the invasive grasses, a little autumn olive here and there.
Was that sort of worrisome? Were you kind of like, oh no, I'm just going to have a yard full of invasive plants? Was that a concern?
It was a concern, but my health was super good, and I was fit, and I had a hoe and a clippers, and it was right out my door.
So you're like, I will get you.
I will get you. And so it was like getting to know your land, because I literally am walking out on every square inch I could get to.
Yeah.
And pulling it out, and especially after rains.
Yeah.
Like the rain is always your friend. Like, oh my gosh, it rained. Now I can get out there, and all those roots are just going to come up. All that Queen Anne's lace is just going to pull right up.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so being very opportunistic, because I live here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it rained. It's time to do this. And that was pretty much my priority for years, was to get the invasives out.
So year 3, you're saying it was still not what you were hoping for, or at least the way it looks now. So what happened between let's say, the year of the invasives to what we see now, what happened? How did the prairie just recover? Did the prairie grasses just fill in because the invasives were gone? Or was it because of a burn that you did? Or
It was a couple things. So I had some experts come out and they said, you've got a lot of gray-headed coneflower. I mean, it was like yellow gray-headed coneflower everywhere. So it was not disappointing. Its third year, it was like a flower garden.
oh, okay. So even with the invasives there, that plant still thrived.
It really takes off. Apparently,
Interesting.
it's one of those early
Okay.
pioneer plant species or something that just really goes crazy. And apparently, it's very inexpensive seed, so
Yeah.
they put a lot of it in these mixes.
Okay. So at this point, you were throwing out seed mixes. Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
Additional mix, like we would
Okay.
gather seed, put out more in the bare spots. So
Yeah.
not only pulling invasives,
Yeah.
but then now I have a bare spot. Now I can add more seed.
So at the very beginning, you were broadcasting seeds and everything, but still, at year 3, there was a lot of invasives, even then.
Yeah, and more on the perimeter. It seemed like
Okay.
it was like the center was pretty high
Okay.
quality,
Yeah.
but blowing in from the street, all the seed bed on the perimeter of the crop ground, that's where it was like seeding itself with
Okay.
invasives
Okay.
more.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And so so then you had the beautiful yellow flower you were just talking about. That was pretty magnificent, but it was still sort of monoculture
Yes.
feeling.
Yes, and so I had a lot of people say, it's probably time to burn.
Okay.
Because you're gonna get a lot of buildup, and you want to burn that duff, that mat down. We want to burn that up there. You've got enough material to burn.
And again, I am just going to say here, and I'll say this in any podcast when someone mentions burning, it's going to be so weird to anyone who hasn't been to Iowa, the idea that you burn land to make it grow. I mean, most people don't know that prescribed burning was something that Native Americans used, but also I think most people who don't live in the Midwest, they don't know that people still do this now, and especially with the prairie restoration movement, that it's a key thing. So, this might seem like a silly question, but were you nervous at all about burning the land and being like, is this really going to come back? Or did you completely trust that you weren't going to just like turn it into dirt again?
I had seen good results on other farms because I'd been doing prescribed burns of my conservation reserve program ground in surrounding farms and had seen it really come back and thrive.
Okay.
And I knew I can always interseed.
Okay.
That I can always add more seed and, just keep going.
Do you remember when your first burn was, what year it was?
The only burn that's here,
Yeah.
it was April of 2025. Has been
this
the
year,
first
this
and
year.
only.
That was the first one. Oh, I thought you did maybe 2 or 3 before this April.
Only on that Pollinator Hill we did one over there.
Wow.
Yeah. So this was just growing and becoming itself and being weeded, like I was talking about with my hoe for like 4 years.
So for 4 years, you're seeing a certain type of growth happen. Mm-hmm. And so you burn it in 2025. And what did you notice that was so different after that?
Well, I'm seeing a lot more grass now.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I'm going to split hairs here. When
Yeah.
you say grass.
yes, so I'm seeing a lot more Indian grass,
Okay.
big blue stem, the side oats gamma. That's what I'm seeing right now. We'll see how the asters do. We finally got a compass flower, which has been like, to me, the holy grail, because I've been seeing the fern-like leaves
Yeah.
in the prairie, but we actually had one spike up and flower
Yeah.
after the burn.
Wow.
So would it have flowered on its own? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it needed that burn.
And how quickly do things start coming back after a burn?
I mean, it depends on the rain, I think. So we had a magic year. We had a burn,
Mm-hmm.
and then I believe in June and July, we got 9 inches of rain in each of those months
Wow.
following the burn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we had primo corn soybean
Yeah.
time and primo burn come back
Wow.
prairie time,
Wow.
as well as watering new trees during all that.
Do you think when a person does a burn, I mean, what does the land look like after it? Is it literally just singed all the way down to the dirt?
It can be patchy, and that can be a good thing too, that it's
Okay.
not all like a monoculture of burn
Like
as
I'm
well.
imagining like scorched earth, but it's not always literally scorched earth all the way down to the bare.
I don't think so, because the burn moves pretty quickly, and it's not like a huge fire.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they use blowers. They use like electric blowers, like a leaf blower, to move
Really?
the burn. Yeah,
Wow. I gotta film a burn. I'm really excited because
Yeah.
I've never seen one.
yeah.
So I mean, do you start seeing things growing back within days then? Especially after your burn with all the rain? Or did it take a while?
I think it takes a little while, but I think they come back pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I can't believe that it was burned in April. Looking
Yeah.
at how tall it is now.
It's
I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you had like a whole master plan with the group, with the lady at your kitchen table. You literally have a map that shows where all the plants are going to go. Did you end up deviating a lot from your plan, or do you feel like you stuck pretty close to it?
The plan had a deer fence that was pretty tall and large, almost surrounding the whole south part of the house.
Yeah.
Which was going to be pretty ugly to
Uh-huh.
look at.
Uh-huh.
And I don't mind deer right out my door at all.
Right.
So we ended up just doing a deer fence right around the garden and making that footprint much smaller.
Okay.
Because we're not feeding like 20 people here.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
2 adults in this, we only need like 4 raised beds. So we scaled that part down. We didn't do a circular driveway. We didn't have the room for that.
Right.
But the garage landed in the same place. The shed was in the same place. The fire pit, the decks, the emergency shelter. Yeah, I mean, I think I had an idea of a tiny home for like a additional young farmer out front.
Right.
Didn't do that.
Right.
The bird bath was kind of a new idea because I just saw some birds out there taking a bath a minute ago, just right out
Oh yeah.
in that zone that you can enjoy with your binoculars right there.
Oh, and there's the fire pit. I hadn't noticed that
Yeah.
before. Okay.
Yeah, so the land, like when you live on land, it sort of starts to speak to you of where things are going to be going. And you want it to be just steps out the door. You don't want it really that far away.
Yeah.
For the convenience.
For people who listen to this and go, okay, I want to do that. I want to do this. Let's talk about literally or approximately how much land do you have here that you've decided to turn into restored prairie grass areas?
I really think it's only about 2.5 acres.
Okay. And how many hours a week would you tell someone to be prepared to put into it, or how many years?
Well, we're year 5, and now it's mowing it, keeping the fire break mowed and doing some invasive species weeding. Yeah, it's a good 5 years of 20 to 40 hours a week.
Wow. Okay. So it's a commitment.
It's a commitment if you really want a high quality stand.
Okay, let's talk about it conversely. If you, because I really want to think about what it's like for someone who really is passionate about this, but can't do it. Like maybe, a couple with 2 teenagers, they're busy doing soccer games on the weekends with their kids, whatever, just people who also work full time off the home site. And let's say that they didn't have time to do the hoeing and the different things. What would have been a worst case scenario here if you hadn't had the time to go out and do the particular pulling up of things? Would it still be pretty nice? Or do you think it just would have been completely overtaken?
I think you would see a lot of Queen Anne's lace out there and a lot of invasive thistles that are very prickly that you wouldn't want to walk next to.
Yeah.
that would kind of hurt you walking in your prairie.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this is very gentle grasses. If you
Yeah.
walk in there, you're not getting stabbed with all
It
kinds
is,
of stickers
definitely.
and stuff.
I was-
It would look very different. There'd be a lot of parsnip out there still,
Yeah, yeah.
which can burn you, with the blistering. It just wouldn't have been as user friendly, and
Yeah.
it just, it would be very different looking.
So it could still be functional for birds or some other critters, right? I was thinking about, though, you said there was a particular species, like in year 3, that came up that you were kind of maybe surprised about. Was it the yellow?
The compass flower.
You said
And
by
the
year 3
indigo?
there was all sorts of yellow
Oh,
flowers.
the gray-headed coneflower.
And is that native? So did that
Yes.
kind of propagate on its own opportunistically? I just wondered, was that an example of, even without humans doing stuff? Well, no, I mean, you did a ton, but once you set the ground, did some native grasses just sort of start to appear?
I think that there is native grass in that old waterway that is seeding out
Okay.
into the prairie a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But also the reed canary is too.
Yeah, yeah.
And the brome. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like I felt like the sheriff defending the prairie because there's so much pressure from the invasives all around it
Yeah.
that I felt like, okay, I can just take charge of these 2 acres and make it as good as it can be.
Right.
And this is my advanced gardening. This is like
Yeah.
level 10 gardening. This is
Yeah.
what I've been working towards my whole life. And this is my reparation to the land.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
this is what was here. The buffalo are missing. This was missing. All this stuff was missing. We
Yeah.
used the land for profit all
Yeah.
these years. And I am apologizing and I am making things right
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the farm.
Yeah.
And I'm respecting what's here. And I'm going to defend it. So I'm
Yeah.
going to pull out those invasives that are not
Yeah.
supposed to be here. And I think with the hoe, I was getting anger out too. Like I think I was just like my frustration, my love. Like it was like the gym, right? Like this is now my exercise, And I have my water bottle, and I have my bandana, and I have my sun hat, and I've got my bug spray, and
Yeah.
I'm just committed.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. I love that. Let's talk about the watering.
Yes.
And sort of the co-involvement with climate change realities with replanting. How much of it, what's the considerations there for someone thinking about doing this?
So prairie, I think, is so much easier than planting trees.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of work to get out there and weed, but compared to weeding 300 trees,
Yeah.
mulching with wood chips 300 trees, putting expensive chicken wire and hog wire and T-posts and zip ties around 300 trees.
I have a question. Are you saying 300 trees because you planted 300 trees?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you were...
Yes, it's about 290
Okay.
or something.
I thought you were just, throwing out a figure
No.
like I walked 1,000,000 miles.
No, this is what's here.
Okay, okay. So you're saying prairie was way easier than doing the trees. Wow.
Way easier because
Okay.
we didn't water the prairie.
Yeah.
We didn't
yeah.
water the prairie. The prairie's supposed to be here. It's going to take that water in when it gets it. It's going to use it I can't water 2 acres.
Yeah, wow.
I can't do that. So there was, all I had to do was weed.
That is so interesting. When we walked your front patch over here, or I'm just referring it to it as that, yeah, when you were talking about watering and I could see the hoses stretched out before us, I did think that you watered the prairie. I thought that's why it was so tall. Whoa. So it did that all on its own.
It did it all on its own. I
Wow.
mean, I admit I did water some prairie.
Oh.
During a couple of years ago, it was like, I'd see like an aster struggling.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I'd be like, here's some water.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, okay.
So there might be a little watering going on.
Yeah.
And also I did use oscillating sprinklers for the riparian buffer, and some prairie was watered in the midst of
Okay.
the oscillating sprinkler.
Right.
But in general,
Yeah.
that prairie out there
Yeah.
was not watered.
Yeah.
It was just water from the sky.
Right.
So
Wow. Yeah. And I will say, like, the piece of land you're on here is so, it's got so many things going for it. But and I hope this doesn't sound like a critique, but it does also have some things not going for it. For example, just the small bits of land I've seen, like I've heard that oak trees, for example, are like super duper important to have that. And of course we don't have bison, right? But so I know you have the big oak over there.
Mm-hmm. Big red oak.
Yeah. And when I went and visited Sue's property, like, man, she just has there's a whole forest of oak on the edge of her property, which I think is a huge boon. But one of the things you really have going for you here is you've got that riparian waterway right there. I'm sure that really helps.
We're kind of a peninsula because we have the culvert coming from the farm across the way with their grass waterway going under the road and feeding this pond, this 5-acre pond.
Yeah.
And then on the other side is a waterway that's so old it's in like the pictures from the 50s.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's a pretty wide waterway.
Right. And you're located at the bottom of sort of the watershed here. Mm-hmm. When we stand at the bottom of your property, we realize then, well, you knew it already, but I realized, we're looking uphill. It's a gentle hill, but still all the water's draining down this way. So I'm sure that also helps. But yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about, I'm trying to say that what I learned through being here, because I learn something every time I go to a new place, is like where the land is situated definitely matters, and what's around it really matters a lot too. Mm-hmm. And that's just really, really interesting to me. Yeah, maybe not interesting to everybody.
So trees are just way harder because they need water.
Yeah.
And if you let all the weeds grow around them, the weeds are going to compete with their roots and the water, and they're
not on
suffer.
the same team.
They're not on the same team.
Yeah.
And then you've got immature trees that are small with high impact deer that are looking for food in the winter, so they have to be caged.
Yeah.
Until they're a certain size.
Yeah.
So we did plant oaks. So we do have swamp white oak. We've got some oaks out there and some hackberry. We've got some of the Norway spruce and the eastern white pine and the concolor fir out there. So we do have trees that will be 150 years old if we're lucky and 100 feet tall.
Yeah.
And providing shade to the street.
Yeah.
And the neighbors that will be coming by in their cars will suddenly have shade.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Well, let's talk about, I was just thinking about that Xerces Society sign that you have down there. Well, actually, yeah, I just want to touch upon that, and then I have a part B follow up to that. But talk about the Xerces Society very briefly and what they do and why there's a sign down there and what you did, what they advised and so forth.
Yeah, that's the Leave the Leaves sign.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that they really talk about is people rake up all their leaves. Oh, it's so messy. Well, there's all kinds of insects that need those leaves to overwinter.
So we're removing their whole ecosystem.
They've got to have some shelter.
Yeah.
There's some ground burrowing insects. And that's their warmth. That's their umbrella. That's their little cave. And so leave them alone.
Now, if we say this, we might be sinking leaf blower stock in the stock market, so we got to be careful. I know they won't be sponsoring this episode. I'm sorry, I just had to make a dumb joke.
Or rakes.
Yeah, right. So down on your edge of your property there, describe what you did in relation to that information with those stacks.
Yeah, so as trees have died, we have the emerald, the ash borer, they've killed a lot of trees, so we do have some of those trees that are coming down and dying. And as trees die and fall down and branches die or whatever, we don't just wood chip them all and haul them off to the dump.
Right.
What I realize is that there's a lot of animals here. We have mink, we have rabbits, we have coyote, we have red fox, we have snakes, we have all kinds of critters, pheasants. They're going to be looking for shelter in the winter when it's really sub-zero snow. Why not leave all this material into little habitat homes
that
it's going to decompose over time, but they can get in there and they can get warm and they can
Yeah.
populate, and they are.
That's really smart. And so, did you sort of learn about that from the Xerces Society, or did you already know about it, or?
I don't know exactly where. I watch so many podcasts, listen to so many things. I'm
Okay.
not sure exactly who to credit for that.
Did they come out here?
Yes, I've had
Oh.
Sarah Nizzi, Nizzi, come from the Xerces Society.
Oh, I messaged Sarah to meet
She's-
for an
yeah.
interview. I didn't hear back.
She's a friend of mine too.
Oh,
And
okay.
I met them at a Women Food Agriculture Network conference years ago, and they were looking for sites to do a conservation innovation grant, a SIG grant, conservation innovation
Okay.
grant. And I had an acre of property located just half a mile from
Oh, it's
here.
not here. It's a little bit further
Just
away.
a little further away.
Okay.
That was all brome grass. It was not in crop. It was not in conservation. It was just left to itself.
Did you say
low
it was
quality.
a singular acre?
Yeah.
Just a singular acre.
Just a singular acre on its own.
Your dad flew out in like 1980.
No, it's attached to 28
Oh,
acres.
thought your dad
Yeah,
flew
there-
out in 1980. He's like, I want that acre.
No, it's part of 28 acres.
Okay. Okay.
And
Got you.
it was sort
I
of
was
low-lying
picturing
fruit.
an acre of land fenced in. And I was like,
No.
okay.
And in California, that would be a lot of land, right?
Right.
But
Yes.
here,
Absolutely.
it's all relative.
Yeah.
So they provided funding and oversight to have that area basically created a seed bed to do natives.
Okay.
So we got rid of the brome. And it did take spraying, and it did take
Yeah.
mowing, and we had to get rid of that Canada thistle and brome and reed canary grass, hard stuff to get rid of.
Yeah.
Now it's like beautiful sunflowers and echinacea and
Ooh, nice.
spiderwort and all kinds of beautiful flowers
Wow.
for pollinators.
Awesome. Okay.
So I met them through that. We had a field day.
Yeah.
And we showed other women, what had happened there. And then they actually came here and looked at the prairie, identified the plants, helped me identify things, gave me some tips and tricks. Just has been very much a companion along this path. Like,
Yeah.
what do I do? I have this going on, I'll call
Right.
Sarah. Been really, really helpful.
Are there other groups that have been helpful in that way as well that come top of mind besides the Xerces Society?
For the prairie or...
Yeah, for the prairie, just to help you figure out what to do with this land.
The Iowa Prairie Network had one of the best conferences I've ever went to in my life.
Oh, wow. Was that the one they hold in May?
Yeah,
that you
this
went
was
to?
the national one.
Okay.
Where it happened a couple years ago.
Okay.
And it was at the horse track up north, just like an hour.
Why
I'm
was it
forgetting.
helpful?
It blew my mind because there were so many breakout sessions, and there were
Huh.
people from Canada. There were people doing prairie restorations like all over the place.
Really?
And
Wow.
it was just so chock full of information, and I was learning about prairie. I think I spent the first 8 or 10 years learning about corn, soybean, cover crop, no-till, and then since I made this prairie, I've been really focused on what am I looking at here, what can I add here, what's
Yeah.
supposed to be here, and
I should also mention that's
Mm-hmm.
how I am sitting here in your home. Is I made that post like a little over 2 months ago now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first posts. Well, yeah, the first post I made was on the Iowa Prairie Network Facebook page, and I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for people to interview. Who has a story? Who wants to meet?" And that is when.
Mary
Oh, no, wait.
Swander.
Oh no, that's right. I didn't meet you through there. I met you through Mary Swander.
Yeah, Mary Swander.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
going down the wrong memory road there. Okay, Mary
But
Swander
it was through that
connected
post
us.
probably
Oh,
originally.
everything
yeah.
started
Yeah.
from that post. That's how I met Mary.
Origin story, yeah.
Yeah, that's the superhero origin story of how I met you. Oh, very cool. Okay, Mary connected us. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Can you think of any other groups? So we got Xerces Society, Iowa Prairie Network.
Yeah, for the woodland stuff, the Iowa Woodland Owners Association. There's also like a nut growers association because I do have some chestnuts out there.
Oh, nice.
So there's actual tree groups too, like native tree groups. There's an oak savanna group.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's memberships, there's conferences, there's newsletters for all these specific types of things that my father never knew about any of that stuff.
Wow.
I never knew about this stuff.
Yeah.
Practical Farmers of Iowa has been a huge collaborator.
Okay.
Women Food Agriculture Network.
Women Food
Food Agriculture Network.
Food Agriculture Network. Is that based in Iowa or is
yes.
it? Okay.
Based in Iowa. Climate Land Leaders are Teresa Opayam, who used to run Practical Farmers of Iowa, created her own landowner group of landowners in the Midwest, very concerned about climate crisis and climate change.
Okay.
And how they can use their own land to reverse climate change.
Oh, yeah. And I just realized I probably asked you a question and took you off topic a bit when I said climate change considerations. No, you mentioned trees because they require so much more water. No, I guess we did talk about it because kind of the conclusion is that prairies are fairly climate change resistant because, yeah, there they are. They're growing out there and you just watered a couple asters. So pretty good. What was I going to say? That's okay. I've had a question in the back of my mind forever, and now I'm going to pull that one out. Can you talk? This is your this is your invitation to brag. Tell us about this award.
Okay. Practical Farmers of Iowa picks one landowner a year to receive the Legacy Landowner Award.
Okay.
And it can be for different things. It can be that you've helped beginning farmers a lot. It can be that you've done a lot of conservation on your land or things like that. Done a lot of research of who knows what types of crops or organics on your land. And I was selected. You have to be nominated. I think I've been nominated maybe a couple of times, but I was selected to be this year's recipient.
Yeah.
I'm super flattered, of course. It's coming at an amazing time in my life where I really feel like I've matured enough to even imagine talking to this space, you know?
Isn't it funny? Like, I can say this to you because we're both over the age of 40, I think. It's so funny how long it takes us to mature, isn't it? Like,
the human species.
I'm 53 years old and I'm finally starting to grow up, if I'm being honest. Anyway, continue. So,
I am so excited to get this award because I get to talk about this whole journey in front of my peers on October 23rd.
Okay, so today is October 5th. So,
very soon.
In 18 days.
Yes.
Where is it being held?
It is at Pamel Park in Winterset.
Okay.
And it's in a building that was built in the 1920s. It's a log building.
Oh, nice.
It's a lodge.
Yeah.
With an old stone fireplace.
Wow.
And it was built by like the laborers of the time of the 1920s.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds awesome.
Certain kind of county commission something or other.
Yeah.
And they put this building together and it's still standing. And it's got original logs from the site. It's got black walnut tables and chairs from the site, all milled from the site.
Wow.
So very, very Little House on the Prairie appropriate for me. And I will be, having a photo montage.
You're doing like a PowerPoint.
Well, I'm gonna be speaking without a PowerPoint.
Okay.
I have like an 18-minute talk. I've been practicing on my best friends.
I was going to ask you if you've been...
I've got to practice it because I don't want to be
a
puddle of tears because I'm talking about my parents, and stuff.
So, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's emotional. It's happened. So I'm making sure I'm wringing out, all that nuggets of emotion so I can really present, right? And there'll be a pause during the talk where a song by Eliza Gilkyson will be played.
A song by who?
Eliza Gilkyson.
I don't know. Is that a famous person I'm unaware of?
I just saw her in concert for the second time. She's like a folk singer.
Oh, you posted that on your Facebook. Okay.
It's her song Seculaire. which
Okay.
is about the environment and about nature.
Oh, wow.
And that'll be playing during 55 images, 4 seconds each.
Wow.
Will be fading in and out on
Okay.
a screen.
Oh,
Just-
and the images are from here?
They're
Or-
they're historical images of my family.
Wow.
There's images of this place.
Okay.
Other farms that I've been managing.
Wow.
The Oxbow restoration that we'll eventually talk
Oh
about.
my God, how have we not talked about that? Honestly, I can't, Ruth, I'm being honest. I completely forgot about the Oxbow restoration because it's so funny.
not
And I'll
there.
just say this
Yeah.
to the listeners. I came out here, so one of the tricks that I do so we can have an authentic conversation, I do this with most people, is I do almost zero research on people. I don't want to know about them before I come out. Because then, as an interviewer, all you're doing is asking leading questions.
Yeah.
And people, I feel that whenever
Yeah.
I'm watching a documentary, I'm like, the interviewer already knows the answer to that question, but they're asking it so the audience can hear the answer. So I had no idea we were going to walk around your property. I didn't even know your property was interesting. I thought we were just going to have a sit-down talk about the Oxbow restoration, and then we would go visit it after the corn had been taken
Yeah.
out. I had no idea that you lived on this amazing piece of land that you worked so hard on, and I had completely forgotten about the Oxbow until you just mentioned it. Right, the Oxbow restoration.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's finish up about the awards thing.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got to. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I haven't
And
asked you
the
about
name of
that
my
yet.
business is Oxbow Farms, Iowa. So I
Okay.
named it after the Oxbow.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so the award, I mean, I felt like so siloed and so alone living in California. If you can imagine being raised in the desert of Arizona.
Which I can because I lived in Arizona.
Okay,
Yep.
and so I knew the cactus plants.
Yeah.
And then I've been living for almost 40 years in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So I know redwoods. I know Mediterranean plants that live in our zone 17 climate
Yeah.
out there. But then I came here. It's a whole other zone.
Uh-huh.
It's are you good?
Oh, I'm checking battery. Being paranoid about battery life. It's,
And we can plug in
It's
if you
3
need to.
bars.
Okay.
Plenty good.
Okay, good. Because
Yeah.
I got plugs everywhere. If
Oh,
you
okay.
need
No, we're
if you
good.
need electro. And I didn't have friends here. I didn't have a house here. I didn't know what native prairie was. I didn't know why it was important. I didn't know what the trees were here.
You're like where I am right now, trying to learn all this. Right?
Learn it at a steep learning
Yeah,
curve.
yeah.
You know. And so I had to find all my groups. I had to figure it all out.
Wow.
And it was like my brain was ready for that. It was a jigsaw puzzle. It was a Rubik's Cube. And I mean, it just kept me going. I wanted to figure it out.
I think people might wonder what your background work was. Are you okay sharing like what your background
Sure.
work, what you were doing before you started on this farming stuff?
Yeah, so in high school, I thought I was going to go into like theater arts or music because I loved
I get that vibe from you.
performing. Yeah,
Yes.
I loved
Right. Yeah.
I was in musical plays and my mom was a musician
Yeah.
and we always had a piano and a guitar and a cello around and we were always singing with my mother.
Wow.
And I thought I was going to do that. And then I found environmental studies very interesting. And I started taking environmental studies classes. And then it became kind of depressing.
It is.
yeah,
If
I
you
was
dig
like,
in, not a lot
ooh.
of good news.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
ended up doing an art major.
Okay.
So I was doing ceramics, I was doing printmaking, I was doing photography. And I graduated with a BA in art
Okay.
with a photo emphasis.
Yeah.
And I had teachers that used to work with Ansel Adams. You know, this is the time
Wow.
where they were the printers for Ansel Adams.
Wow.
And I had some pretty good instruction. And I had been taking pictures with my old, cameras, the Pentax K1000. I was in a darkroom class at 13 years old. So it happened really, really early for me. I loved my own darkroom work, film, spot toning, sepia toning, oil painting on pictures. Got into wedding photography right out of college. I was one of the only women in Santa Cruz taking wedding pictures back in the 90s.
Wow.
And the brides felt very comfortable with a woman in the dressing room, not a man.
Sure.
And so,
interesting. I never thought about that.
yeah.
Wow.
And I was making heirloom albums and doing all my own black and white printing on French fiber paper in a darkroom for a long time.
Wow. You said you worked in that field for 15 years?
Yes, 15 years. And they were gorgeous albums with leather slipcases and just gorgeous things. And I had Silicon Valley clients, and they were really smart people.
Yeah.
And so I had that's kind of my training ground of contracts and smart people that found loopholes in my contract and how I could close those loopholes. And I used all that transferable skills in the farm world.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that was my business.
For land contracts. Yeah.
Yeah. I purchased a home in Santa Cruz purely on saving money from being a photographer.
Wow. So photographer to farmer, that's the name of your life story.
And using photography for documenting this whole process.
Yeah.
So it's such a great skill to have at all times,
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned an important thing before we talk about oxbows, and you have the floor.
Okay, yeah, the wildlife aspect of bringing prairie back. So I was hoping I would be surprised by the use of the prairie, and I have been. It was like all the rabbits and mink and fox were all hanging out in the ditch because it was all being cultivated. All this land was just being cultivated by corn and soybeans.
So the ditch was like the wildlife corridor for them.
Yes, yeah, and they often are. The waterway, the ditch, the small forest.
Huh.
We leave so little for other beings. So suddenly, now it's 2+ acres of restored prairie, as well as the 300 trees we've been mentioning.
Yeah.
And they just moved back in. They just they took their suitcases and they went, okay, you've given us some property finally.
Yeah.
And we've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of dragonflies migrate through here.
Wow.
We've seen all kinds of butterflies. I have seen a mink run across a path. There's so many cottontail rabbits out here. They disappear into the prairie. The little white tail just disappears in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen bald eagle dive into the pond and get a fish in its talons in front of our eyes.
Wow.
The shooting stars, the lunar eclipses, we can see really well here. All the sort of blood moons, strawberry moons.
Yeah.
I've seen the northern lights here a little bit.
Wow.
It's just been such a abundance of these animals moving back in and trusting that we're not hunters, we're not shooting them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think I've kicked out 6 or 7 pheasant from that north
I was
prairie.
going to ask about pheasants. You've seen pheasants?
Not a lot right now. I don't know if they've been hunted recently, like around here, or if they're just hiding out in the crop ground for right now. But yeah, we have a lot of pheasant. We have owls at night. We have coyotes sometimes we hear. The deer are all through here. They're having their babies in the prairie.
Well, yeah, you mentioned in your pollinator patch, I think you had said that... Well, actually, we didn't talk about the pollinator patch too much. That's a little different.
Yeah.
You specifically designated that as a pollinator patch. Why is that?
Well, the neighbor, there was no fence there, so I think it was all kind of hay ground. And so I thought it was perhaps a remnant prairie because it had no cropping history.
Yeah.
And so we did a burn that didn't really yield much. I had it looked at, and it wasn't really worth trying to save it as a remnant prairie. So it was mowed. It was ended up being sprayed.
Yeah.
To sort of get a clean patch of land to then seed in all the prairie plants.
Yeah.
And so I seeded it by hand about 1/3 of an acre over and over and over. And now it's just solid flowers and jam-packed with milkweed and, aster and that's the prairie store. We go over and collect seed and then add that to other places.
That's interesting. So someone can choose to have just like a pollinator specific sort of area.
Yeah, there's not as many grasses over there at
Yeah.
this point in time.
Yeah.
What I think happens is over time the grasses take over and dominate
Okay.
more of the forbs, the
Okay.
flowers.
So is it? But the ground was more amenable to pollinator seeds than grasses. Was that part of why?
It was
Or-
just deciding that I wanted more flowers
Oh, okay,
in the
okay.
mix. Yeah.
So you literally, does that involve like going to a store like Prairie Moon or something like that and literally choosing the pollinator pack?
Yeah, I used Allendan seed because
Okay.
they're local in Winterset.
Oh, okay.
So I just drive over there and get the
Gotcha.
seed from them directly.
Awesome.
But you can also use Prairie Moon and have
Okay.
it delivered by mail.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Now, on to the thing that drifted into the back of my mind. Just a funny story I remember is when I was first coming out here, you called me when you left California, and I was like, I can't wait to meet, and we're going to go out to the Oxbow, and it's going to be, and I was literally picturing the Oxbow being visible off your back deck, because I just imagined you have a house with a deck. And I was like, oh, it's just like, well, it's like in your backyard, right? And you were like, oh no, the Oxbow is not in my backyard. So first let's talk about what is an Oxbow, since most people don't know what an Oxbow is. And actually so I sat down with a member of the Nature Conservancy, who I will name drop because I think you know her. Her name is Karen Wilkie.
I told you about her.
Right.
Remember?
Oh, yeah.
So glad you talked.
And we had coffee and talked about what is an Oxbow. Mm-hmm. And I actually, well, it's just interesting. I'll just tell you tiny bit about my history. Is I took a School for Field Studies class when I was 18. And the School for Field Studies is based, I believe, in Massachusetts. And so this is back in like 1990 or something. I went on this class. 1988 is when I probably went on the class. And we did high alpine field ecology. So we learned how to do botany surveys of landscapes and etc. And it was in Colorado. And we were specifically near an area like the Weminuche Wilderness area, and we were near Pagosa Springs. And I remember we pulled over to this like overlook, and we all got out of the van, and the teacher said, you see that valley down there and how the stream meanders with all those 90-degree elbow curves? She goes, those are Oxbows. Mm-hmm. But then when I was talking to Karen is like, well, not necessarily are those Oxbows. Or at least, so I'm still a bit confused about what people consider Oxbows, and maybe they mean different things in different places. Because to me, that's a stream that was where the stream was still flowing, was in those 90-degree bends. Mm-hmm. And so Karen is like, oh, no, when we worked on the Oxbow restoration at Roos, the water isn't always flowing through that curve. Mm-hmm. And so, anyway, that's my long-winded.
Yeah.
What's an Oxbow to you? What is an Oxbow?
Yeah, it's sort of a crescent-shaped body of water. I don't know if it has to be attached to a stream.
That's the part that threw me.
Yeah,
right.
I think I would defer to Karen for the definition.
Because even when the water's not flowing through it is still an Oxbow. Because when that water level comes up, it is going to go through there again, right?
Yeah.
So what's on your property?
So the governor of Iowa, Governor Beardsley, used to own this piece of property in New Virginia.
Oh, wow.
He was a governor from the 1950s.
Oh, okay.
And back then, from my understanding, that he had the power, or maybe landowners had the power to straighten a creek.
Okay.
And so there's a creek right next to the Oxbow that was straightened by human hands.
Yeah.
So it's very, pitched with a lot of erosion because the water wanted to meander through this Oxbow, this natural area.
Yeah.
So it's cut off. So my Oxbow used to be the original creek going through that land.
So what you'll get when you look at it from the sky, folks, is you'll have like kind of a straight line of a creek, and then you can see the kind of the ghost outlines of these really cool, like fanned out 90-degree turns, and they look like ghosts on a LiDAR or something.
So on my sister's side of the farm, because this farm was large and it was split in half, on her side, whoever, the governor or whoever had the farm, decided to get rid of the oxbow by filling it in. And they took out trees or whatever, and they just filled dirt in and they started farming it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like landfill farming. Like
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know they did that.
And then on my side, someone in their wisdom left the black walnut trees, left the land the way it was supposed to be, and didn't fill it in.
So the creek was still straightened, but it was just, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right, wow.
So I was just the lucky recipient of that Exhibit A farm coming to me.
Yeah.
And it still had its oxbow.
Wow.
And my dad didn't have a clue about oxbows.
Yeah.
He was looking for corn and soybeans. You know, he thought it was a beautiful farm, but he
Yeah.
didn't really know anything about what was happening with the oxbow.
Right.
So I was out there with a district conservationist. It was actually Dennis Schroet, who's now retired from Clark County. Very early on, maybe 2013, 2014. We were out in like his truck or something, and he said, "And that's your oxbow lake." And I'm like, never heard that word in my life.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, it's this special, unique lake. They're kind of unusual.
Oh, it's still, so it had water in it.
Yes. Yeah.
Like standing water.
Yes.
So not a current flowing through it, but obviously it was retaining water.
Yes.
Interesting.
It was retaining water.
Oh, so it wasn't just a ghost of an outline that it was all dried up. It had water in it.
No, it just needed help.
Wow.
It was functioning.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a wetland, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's where all the life is.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the water and to that habitat and the shade and the shelter.
Right.
And so I knew about that. And then I started seeing Zooms online about oxbow restorations and started to learn about it, that there was actually funding through the Natural Resources Conservation Service to do restoration work.
Wow.
And I started to inquire about all that. And on and on, years of drawings, years of, we had to look at, hey, were there Native Americans out here? Is there a burial site nearby? Are there shards of pottery here or arrowheads?
Right.
So there was a team that was boring down a certain level
to make
into
sure you
the
weren't
Oxbow,
disturbing. Yeah.
and work would have to stop.
Right.
If that was the case.
Sure.
So they had to make sure that we weren't going to be trespassing on artifacts around the Oxbow.
That's awesome that they do that. Mm-hmm. Oh, let me pause your story for just a second to ask, why did it need restoration if it already had water in it, and animals would already come to it? Why was restoration needed?
It was very, very shallow. And so, not that we'd have a lot of fish in there, but we wanted to have additional water. We wanted more water to be contained.
Okay.
And so now we have much larger amounts of water. So more animals can thrive. And I mean, there's big turtles in there. I mean, I saw a giant turtle in there. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, there's been river otters nearby.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of life happening in there, so more water is better than less water.
Yeah.
So I think that the plan was only to dig down like 2 feet.
Oh.
We weren't really excavating.
Yeah.
We just wanted to just get that shallowness, push out more, get it deeper, build up a berm like a beaver would, like a berm to kind of hold that water in place. And
was it also shallow because of farming practices, with the sedimentation being washed down? Okay, so that's also where I think, for me, where I go, okay, yeah, restoration, because it had been impacted by farming practices. Yeah, okay, got it. Interesting.
Yeah, so up until I took on management, the farmers were allowed to farm right to the trees. Yeah. Right up against that.
Right.
And I wish I'd had, the foresight to make the buffers even larger, but I did a 30-foot conservation buffer along both sides of the Oxbow.
Wow.
So that we have perennial roots, tall grasses with deep roots.
Yeah.
As that soil's coming in, as the nutrients and the, all the corn,
Yeah.
issues of the fertilizers
Yeah.
coming down. At least it's going to stop with a cork
Right.
in it.
Right. Yeah.
With the natives.
Yep.
So it helps clean up the water.
Yeah.
If we had 100 foot of conservation, even better than 30.
Sure.
But at least we have 30.
I mean, it is amazing what even 30 feet can do.
It really can.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was sedimenting in just the way the pond is there.
Sure.
With topsoil.
Yeah.
Just coming down to that lowest point. And with the help of the restoration, of moving that back out, and the additional grassroots, we're able to kind of get that control back in so that that area can thrive.
And so, how did Karen get involved? So you had some funding from, you said, a conservation
Yeah.
group. Then you just called TNC and was like, Karen, let's go.
I used my network with Women Food and Agriculture Network.
Okay.
Jean Eels, who has been on the board and top of that group for a long time, gave me Karen's name. And so she was that expert brain that had done this so many times.
Yeah.
Then she just got down to the site with the contractor within probably 48 hours.
What?
I mean,
my
it was
gosh.
fast. She was working nearby anyhow on another Oxbow, I believe.
Wow.
So the stars aligned.
Yeah.
And she got in there and she said to me, these dirt workers, they know dirt.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask him what he thinks is going to work here.
Yeah.
And he had an idea of where we could move it just maybe 30 feet this way. And he was going to have the material that he needed.
Wow.
So they worked together as a team. I was in California. I think
Right.
it was winter time or something, fall or whatever.
That's awesome. And just for a little bit of background on Karen, from when I met with her for coffee, a big part of her job is, I believe, it's wetlands management. So she works with farmers who have like the lower part of their property. Oh wait, why am I saying it? You know what Karen does way better than I do.
Well, the audience may not, though.
Oh, but you could say it.
Oh, I think you might know him better than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what Karen does is she basically helps farmers identify, I would tell like a story. So like the bottom part of their property that's drifting towards the watershed part of the land, it's not in great use for them anyway. Mm-hmm. It's too wet, and they're just like, that property, what am I going to do with that? And so what Karen does is she comes in and she helps work with them to say, hey, we can help you conserve that land. I believe they also purchase that land, so the farmer gets a fair trade for that, which is good for them. And then the Nature Conservancy and probably some other groups then manage that land as like a connected, or sometimes isolated, but hopefully connected set of wetlands along like the Cedar River, for example, and other places. And through doing that, they can help protect like these great buffer watershed areas or wetland areas. So it's a really smart plan. It's good for farmers. It's good for conservation. And yeah, she just seems like she really knows what's up with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, she just was like the magical angel that came in. I never even saw a bill. He just, the contractor sent her the bill directly for the project.
Wow.
And it was like they funded it.
Oh my gosh. No kidding. So we'll go out there and film there.
Yeah.
At what point were we thinking, we said the corn had to be gone.
Yeah.
Are we going to try to go there before winter hits, or were we thinking spring?
I think we should go in November.
Okay, that's what I was thinking,
after
November.
the crop's
okay.
out and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, and just to help set my expectations, what will I see, do you think? Like, so is it like we'll take a Jeep road out there or something? Or are we going on horseback or?
I wish I had horses. That would be so much fun. I do have a utility vehicle that we can trailer out there and then get in the mule.
Okay.
And go out there. So we'll probably drive the edge of the crop ground.
Cool.
Out to it. And then
Okay.
you'll see 3 distinct sort of large ponds.
Wait, there's more than... Okay, so I'm glad I asked.
So,
I was
yeah, so
picturing a singular oxbow.
Yeah, it's all, I guess, one oxbow. but there's 3 berms within that stream.
Interesting.
So we're retaining water in 3 separate kind of ponded areas or lakes or whatever.
Are they separate from one another, or are
they're right near each other? They're all in the same line.
But you can stomp in one, walk on dry land, get in another one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was picturing literally a singular kind of semicircular pond, but no, there's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them,
wow.
And what we noticed was the berms, those dams, are starting to erode a little bit, where the water's kind of coming over.
Okay.
And so we did talk to Karen, and they are going to fund a touch-up of a pipe going into those berms. So they're going to pay for that to be happening as well this fall.
How long since you've been out to the Oxbows?
Probably a year.
Wow.
It's really hard to get out there when the crop's in and
the
grass is really tall. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's been about a year since I've seen it.
And they've been in Sint for how long now?
Well, they were there the whole time that my dad owned the property.
Since restoration?
But the restoration happened about a year and a half ago.
Oh, it's so recent.
Super new.
Wow. So you'll be able to see a lot of differences when you're there that you're unaware of yet until you go.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. Well, I'm really looking forward to that. What's really funny is if I had not learned from you that the Oxbow isn't in your backyard and I'd shown up here today, I would have looked at your pond and been like, is that the Oxbow? Right. like how many acres is that pond?
It's 5.
Yeah, I would have been like, is that your 5-acre Oxbow?
Yeah, right. No, this is gorgeous. It's a whole habitat of shade, of just mature trees, tall trees all around it. Very old trees.
Wow, that's so interesting.
And they're hardwood trees.
Yeah.
A lot of them are black walnut.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ruth, I think, do we have anything else to discuss that I didn't mention yet, or something a lot of times my last question to people is there a question you wish I had asked? Is there something you definitely wanted to talk about, but I didn't ask the right question to bring that about?
I mean, I guess it would be, would you do anything differently or something like that?
Yeah.
I would just say on other farms, there's only like one that really comes to mind. You don't know what you don't know. And so there was a opportunity to clear out trees and get more conservation ground to add prairie.
Yeah.
I had never even set foot on that part of the land.
Uh-huh.
And we paid a lot of money to remove trees.
Yeah.
To add more prairie, to get the government payment or whatever. We didn't want our ground to be, we were getting encroached on by these trees.
Yeah.
And I thought years ago, trees are bad.
Right.
We should be getting rid of trees on this crop ground.
Yeah.
And hindsight, I wouldn't pull any trees out until you have actually set foot on that ground and looked at them yourself.
Yeah.
Because now I know how hard it is to grow trees.
Yeah.
And how important they are to climate change for sequestering the carbon and the roosting and nesting and the food, the pollination. I mean, all of it's so important. And we've really denuded our landscape from trees.
It's such an interesting topic, I think, especially for people. I mean, obviously, the majority of listeners to this podcast are going to be based in the grasslands region. Mm-hmm. But then to anyone who happens to come across it from other regions, they're just going to be like, you cut trees to plant grasses? Are you crazy? Because in most places, all the trees have mostly been cut, and they're trying to save these tiny little patches of forest. Like most of the projects I've been involved with have been trying to save tiny little patches of forest.
Other states
in
that
other
you've
states.
been? Okay.
Never in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first Iowa story I've stumbled into. Mm-hmm. And so, people would be horrified to hear this, but it's different here.
It's different here, and you don't need a permit. You just tell someone to go chainsaw those mature trees. And I had really drank the Kool-Aid with just how I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought trees and cropland were bad.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
And I would just say, and I've banned atrazine use on my farms because it has like a 50-year half-life or something, and it's really, really bad for aquatics.
Yep.
For any water.
Yeah. And atrazine is a pesticide or an herbicide?
I believe it's an herbicide.
Okay.
And it's very, very commonly used. It's been banned, like I said, in Europe, and it just sneaks its way in to all these plans.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just continually ban it on my farms. Like, to me, it's like the least I can do.
Yeah.
At this point. I just think until you know what you're really doing with your farm, if you've just inherited a farm, if you're thinking about buying a farm, you need to get out and walk the property. You really need to look at what is going on and not just go, there's a drone of that, there's a map of that, I can see an aerial with some dark area, that's the trees. You really need to go see it yourself.
Yeah. Okay, I did think of another question, something we didn't touch on yet that I know we both said let's make sure we talk about that when the mics are going, is one of the things you can speak uniquely to is how prevalent, what is the prevalence of absentee landowners in the state of Iowa?
I don't know the percentage.
I mean, sorry, I should have, in general, it's a thing.
It's a thing
that I didn't know existed until I talked to you, that I think it's like 70%.
Is it? Okay, so I know women own or co-own almost half the Iowa farm ground.
Wait.
Women own or co-own nearly 50%. It's like 46%.
What?
Of the Iowa farm ground.
Okay, that is absolutely mind-blowing. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yes. And we're not on the cover of Successful Farming and that much. I mean, it's a lot of men. It's a lot of male farmers. And it's not that the women are farming and in the tractor, but they're the landlady. Wow. And they have a lot of power over their land because they get to have a lease that not only sets a price, but sets the parameters of how that land's going to be treated.
Wow.
And so
I had an interview the other day. I haven't released it yesterday, but the guy I was interviewing, Scott, he told me, that the landowner gets to say what gets planted. That was fascinating to me.
Yeah, so I have a very expanded lease. I think it's 16 pages that says, you can't collect Native American artifacts. You don't have mineral rights. You don't have hunting rights. There will be a cover crop on here, and it's your job to terminate it.
Wow.
I pay for the cover crop and arrange the aerial seeding or the drilled seeding.
Yeah.
You will leave all the corn stalks. There'll be no baling of corn stalks. They need to be left standing and not tilled in, nothing. There's no tillage on the land. You need to respect the waterways and stay out of them and plant through them, not go around them. Take your machinery, go walk it through, but raise it up so that the water goes in, because those tire tracks will lead the water in.
Sure.
And if you go around them, the water won't go in them. So there's a lot of like contour farming, the treatment of the trees and shrubs around the property. I'm in charge of all the conservation ground. They're not supposed to be going in there and doing anything. They're just renting the crop ground.
So let's talk about that for a second. Why is it important to know that 46% of the farmland is owned by women? I know it's important, but I mean, like, what does it mean? Because it's kind of just crazy that most people won't know that. Like,
yeah. So usually, a long time ago, women couldn't even inherit land.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
I did know that. Yeah.
I don't know what year that changed. We also couldn't vote.
Right.
So there was a movement where women could actually inherit land, and so as their fathers died, as their husbands died, they could finally inherit land.
Wow.
And women tend to outlive men
a lot.
Slightly.
You just walk into any cemetery and you can see
15,
20 years outliving men. Yeah, it's wild.
So now women can inherit land, and they have a chance to run their farms and run them in a sustainable, regenerative way. that's
Wow.
going to protect the topsoil. And they're going to think about their kids and their grandkids and the future of their farm. And if they have the knowledge from, resources like Women Food Agriculture Network or Practical Farmers of Iowa of the way to really treat your land, then they can implement those positive changes on their land.
So the award you're getting isn't for what you specifically did here at where your house is then. Is the award more related to what you're doing on your farms?
I think it's more on the farms.
I thought it was because of the restorative work you did here.
I think it all adds up to the big pie, but
Wow.
I do think it's the farms, and I do think there's an element of the amount I've spoken out on social media, on interviews in newspapers, on, I've just been on a lot of Zooms. I've really stepped up and said, I'll be the voice of the female landowner that was not raised in Iowa, that's doing a lot of conservation, that implements the lease, that has a lot of protections in it.
Interesting. So
And-
you can, do you ever do like, I don't know, I guess ad hoc's not the word. I meant like volunteer or, so how should I phrase this? As a volunteer or as a paid like consultant, do you work with people to help them figure out how to do different leases that are appropriate for what they want to do on the land? Or do people ever reach out to you for that? They're like,
Yeah,
"We heard you've
I've
done
never
this."
charged for that,
Okay.
but I do have women that are just like, how do I do a hunting lease, or how do I how do I do this thing, or what are you doing with yours? And I'll talk to them individually on the phone.
Yeah. How do people reach out to you if someone listens to this podcast and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I really want to reach out to Ruth"? How do they contact you?
I have the same handle on both Instagram and Facebook. It's Oxbow Farms, plural, Iowa.
Super easy.
All
Okay.
3 words. And there's ways to message me.
Okay, so there's not a website.
No,
per se.
I never did a website.
Okay.
I just use that. People can message me that way.
Yeah. That's
And
great.
then I do have a P.O. box as well. So
Okay.
I can,
That's
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, is there anything? I remember something else we talked about though that was related to not many people realize how many landowners spend part of the time out of the state or something like that. Is that a topic worth talking about?
Yeah,
You
I think we should talk about the long distance land ownership.
that's the phrase.
Yeah.
Long distance.
Yeah.
Right.
So the old, outdated, awful word is absentee landowner.
And I think I said that by accident.
Yeah,
then.
because
Sorry.
I never felt absent. you
Right.
know.
Right.
Physically absent, but head in the game.
And there is a
know?
large amount of the land owned by long distance landowners, right? Mm-hmm. And that kind of pops the illusion that I think most outsiders from Iowa have, which is, I think most people, if they're like me, Joe Schmo Public, Charlie Morris from North Carolina, if someone said, I met a farmer from Iowa, I would think, oh yeah, Iowa, it's just small mom and pop family farms all over the place. Like, to me, big ag wasn't even an idea in my mind until I came to Iowa, and I'm like, I don't really see small family farms like anywhere. So then the further idea is long distance landowners. I definitely never would have thought that was a thing. So what is it? How does it work?
Well, I'm pretty sure Iowa is one of the states where you can't be from foreign areas.
Okay.
And like outside of the U.S.
Outside of the USA.
There's
okay.
other states that allow that,
Okay.
but not Iowa.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be like, U.S. citizen or something.
Okay.
Like, living in the United States.
So like a conglomerate group from some other country far away can't come in and buy up a huge chunk of farmland and
Not to my
Okay.
knowledge. So
Okay.
they have, they've got guardrails for that.
Okay.
So Dad as an investor,
Right.
living in Arizona, could purchase land in
Okay.
Iowa.
Okay.
He was eligible.
Right.
And so I just think, if you're going to own land, it would be great to have some kind of license, because you could not know anything and own land and live somewhere else and you have no idea how it's being cared for or not cared for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so by speaking out through all of this, I'm just trying to convey that it's a very serious responsibility.
Yeah.
To own land.
Yeah.
And to take care of it. Not only for yourself, but for the next generation and for the planet.
That's pretty cool.
So I
good
just
stuff.
feel like zooming out, I was just sort of made for this job.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there's ethics I have, there's empathy I have to the land. I want it to thrive.
Yeah.
I want to leave it better than I found it, and I know that I have. Like, I absolutely know that I have.
Are there a lot of long distance landowners who don't pay close attention to how their land is managed?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do, because if you see any kind of tillage at all in bare ground without cover crops, that's not taking care of the land.
Okay. Tillage, does tillage literally just mean like disc tillage? Is that what you mean?
It could be, disc tillage.
Okay.
Where they're, trying to warm it up or trying to, work it or something. That's so antiquated now.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have our topsoil is being depleted rapidly.
Yeah, yeah.
And you really hurt the biology of the soil. I mean, you kill it every time you till, because it wants to be dark and it wants to be moist, and you're going to bring light in and air and heat and...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Fascinating.
So, yeah, the more we can get the word out about no-till and cover crops, it's sort of been like the drumbeat.
Okay.
And then once you got that, why not add some prairie?
Yeah. Why not add it back? All right. Is there anything else left that you'd like to say before we go?
I don't think so. I think we got it. Yeah.
I feel like you added some great closers, 2 or 3 great closers there already. Okay. All right, Ruth. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm going to hit stop on all these recording devices.
Mm-hmm.